y'all, Stacy here. Thank you so much for joining me for what I've been warming the weeks of September 29th through October 14th, Scentsy edition. I really appreciate your patience while I get back in the habit of this after 2 very crazy weeks. I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that we can stay in touch. I do always like to remind you up top that I do use mostly 25 watt and up Scentsy warmers, as I am a Scentsy consultant, and those warmers are typically on for about 15 hours a day. I cannot believe it has been 2 weeks and 2 hurricanes since my last video. I am still trying to get back into the swing of things, and if you're in rest and recovery mode like me, sending you all the good vibes. Now, the last time I did have a video, I was very much Team Apple, but over the past 2 weeks, I have definitely leaned more Team Pumpkin, and you'll see that reflected in these empties. The first bar that I got through is Breakfast in Bed, and this is a favorite for a lot of us who love classic, old, really in-your-face bakery scents. This is a loud and proud warm pumpkin pastry filled with black raspberry and topped with a sweet cinnamon drizzle. It is sweet, it is long-lasting, it is a powerhouse. I typically get a good 2 days out of it, but this really is just a very bold, delicious, wonderful bakery fragrance. This is, I think, maybe the lone non-pumpkin scent. This is Christmas Cottage Cider, which was a part of last year's Christmas Scentspirations. Essentially, to me, it's Christmas Cottage without the raspberry note. And it does lean more fall to me, although I've been melting this year round. It's just a nice mulled spice with a bit of Valencia orange. Throwing it back to me, melting all things pumpkin over the past 2 weeks. This is Forever Fall, and it's baked pumpkin cinnamon stick with a dash of brown sugar. This is a beautiful fragrance. It's just not my favorite pumpkin fragrance that Scentsy has, and it's a very short-lasting bar to me. I typically only get around 8 to 12 hours, and usually it's more like 8 hours. Robin H. from Northern Lights Glow recommended doing this in alternate warmers with white pumpkin and driftwood, so I decided to give that a try, and it was lovely, but I don't think I'll be doing it again. And of course, I got through another bar of Autumn Hearth. This is a year-round melt for me. I love this fragrance, and I was definitely craving it over this past 2 weeks. It is just homey and cozy and comforting. I can just pop it in my warmers and I don't have to worry about it. It will go for typically 2 days, even in my open concept. I think it may have apple in it. Be sure to put the notes in, but the dominant note to me are the cinnamon and sort of this velvety tonka bean fragrance. It's glorious, and I really appreciated it this past 2 weeks in particular. Now, I have also gotten through another bar of warm pumpkin drizzle. This is a bar that I completely forgot about. It slipped my mind that I really enjoyed and loved this. It was a scent of the month a while ago, and it's warm clove, comfy cozy pumpkin, and a drizzle of sweet maple syrup. This thing is so delicious. It's a very sweet, rich, wonderful pumpkin. I typically can get right at a day and a half at full power of this bar, and it's beautiful. I started melting this because of the bundles that were available. It was one of the fragrances that was included in the bundle, and I was like, do I really like this? And then I was like, oh, I do. I love it. So that's a really good one if you see it in bundles. Another one of those bars that was in the sales bundle was Pumpkin Cashmere. Now this lists, I think, with a little touch of cinnamon, and it's mostly, to me, a very soft mix of white pumpkin and orange pumpkin with a cashmere woods. I really enjoy this fragrance. My favorite way to use this particular fragrance, given that it is kind of a light medium throw and performance for me, is in transitional spaces. Now, it is room filling, so this is not light in a way that you can't smell it. But during seasons when we have lots of heavy pumpkins, I really enjoy having this going in bedrooms and hallways and entryways. It's just a beautiful fragrance. Now, this is another pumpkin that was also in some of those bundles. And when I was decision making on whether or not I wanted to get those bundles, I was melting through all of these. And this is Perfect Pumpkin Pear. To me, this is very much more a potpourri style pumpkin, and I really enjoy it. I found it to be beautiful in my space. So I've melted it multiple times. It's like a fresh pumpkin, and it has the pear providing really just the sweetness with just this tiny bit of sandalwood that I think rounds it out. Of course, I am having such a moment with sandalwood right now, you guys. I love it everywhere. It does also have the warmth from, I think, a tiny touch of clove or cinnamon. It might be clove. I'll be sure to put the notes up. Now, this next one is going to seem so out of place, you guys. This is peony petals, and florals are not my favorite, but I do like to incorporate them into my melting. And peony petals is definitely a floral. Like it, you should not have any idea that it's not. It's literally just peony and rose petals. And I don't have the scent notes in front of me, but I feel like there's some sort of an air. It's not an ocean air, but there is something about this that gives it a breezy, aromatic quality. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's a light floral, but I don't know, it's just appealing. It is a delicate floral. Maybe that's the way to say it. It's a delicate floral. So it's really lovely. I like it in my bedroom periodically, also bathrooms. Now, you guys are probably going to be surprised about my last one, which is a brick. The brick that I have finished is butterscotch brittle. And if you guys watched my reviews, you know I don't love this brick at all. I did not hate melt it either. I tried to love it. I tried mixing it with so many things. I gave it my very, very, very best go, but I could not love this brick. It is just not for me. And I did, a lot of the folks that I personally watch on YouTube really seemed to have a different experience than I did with this fragrance in just every single way, like describing getting some sort of a peppermint out of it. And I didn't get any of that. So I did try and mix it with a couple of other things. None of them are worth noting. It did not work for me. And every time I watched somebody that I typically kind of have alignment with have, you know, relatively positive things to say about the melting of this particular brick, I wanted to jump right in and give it another try. And I don't regret trying it many, many times because you don't want to miss out on something fabulous, but also every sniffer really does differ. And for me, this is just a no go. For me personally, I don't think this is a fragrance that I'm going to be bringing back into my home. However, I am holding out the slightest little bit of hope that maybe this is some sort of a batch variation issue where I just got something different than some of those other YouTubers. However, I have heard kind of my experience echoed from other folks who did not get my samples. So I don't think I'm going to be purchasing it again. I'll be sure to leave a tag in the comments so that you can look at my holiday reviews. I'd love to hear, what was your favorite thing you warmed this past week?